Probably, but I guess, oh, that's good enough. Okay. So, hello. I am working right now, and I thought I'd come on here and do a live and just talk about what I do as a nurse care manager working for an insurance company per diem. And I'm actually working, like I said, so forgive me if I am not always looking at the camera. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun just to come on here and talk about what I do when I'm doing it. But basically, y'all, as a nurse care manager, working for an insurance company, my main job is to make sure that people are staying out of the hospitals. So, like not going to the emergency room unless necessary, not going, being inpatient status unless necessary, but also we want to help people, be healthier versions of themselves so that way they don't need to use the emergency room and the, hospital and become inpatients, because they're healthier, they're eating better, they're exercising. So there's a lot of education that goes into it where when I make my phone calls, whenever possible, I am trying to educate my members about, the importance of eating healthy foods, of the importance of staying active, the importance of, stress management, rest, hydration, all that stuff. Because obviously, if people are doing these things, then they're going to be healthier, which means they're not going to need to go to the ER as much, right? They're not going to need to go to, what is this? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm adding a care plan um, note, and I have to add some information. I'm trying to get to it, but they did some updates recently, and so everything's a little different right now. Anyways, yeah, so that's what I normally do, y'all. I love being a nurse care manager. I love working from home, and I love being per diem, especially. Like that's my main thing was being per diem, because being per diem for me allows me to work around my kids' schedule, around my mother's schedule, who helps me with my kids. So it takes so much stress off of me, especially being a single mom, to have that freedom to schedule myself accordingly, whatever works best for my kids and my mom. Here, I found it. We call them PGAs. Anyways, y'all. So, yeah, being per diem was a game changer for me. And it's honestly, considering where I'm at in life right now, with my children being small, it's like necessary, right? So, yeah. What else? What else can I say? Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love being a nurse care manager too, along the fact that in this situation I get to work from home and be per diem, is that I get to talk to people about being better versions of themselves for the most part. Like, yeah, we have our quotas to meet, and sometimes that causes me to have to not to minimize how much I talk on the phone in order to get through all my calls that are required per month. But I try my best to always include some kind of valuable information in terms of health and well-being, so that way, people can just live their best lives. Like age is, I tell them all the time, because I do work with a lot of members who are older. Like on average, that's the majority of my members are older. And I always tell them, like, y'all, age is nothing but a number, okay? It's your lifestyle that determines your real age, right? So, and I like that. It makes me feel good. I feel like I'm doing something positive. Um, and I'm not trying to say that I never have stressful days working as a nurse care manager. Oh, this keeps moving. I'm sorry, y'all. Working as a nurse care manager, there's days where I do have some stressful situations, or for whatever reason, I got to meet my quota, and I struggled that month to meet it, and it can get a little stressful. But what job is there that you're not going to eventually have some kind of stress in some shape, form, or fashion, right? It comes with life work. But I will say when I worked bedside nursing, I had way more stressful days than I do now. And people told me when I transitioned to working from home from the hospital, they're like, oh, aren't you gonna miss being around people? Blah, 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 things like that, like the social factor of going out and about. And I guess for me, I'm not in that situation because I have 4 little kids and I have enough socialization with my kids. Like, yeah, I get having adult conversations and interactions is important, but for me, this is what works best for my children. They're my priority, so I don't really care. Like, I really don't care about having to clock in and blah blah blah. Like, I've had times where my child was sick, and guess what? They got to stay home with me and I got to work, Like maybe not my youngest child, but I have older kids that's 8, 5-year olds soon to be 6. If they get sick, they can stay home with me. And I don't have to bring them to my mother's house, and they prefer to be home when they don't feel good. So they have that option to stay home when they don't feel good. And I can, in between my calls, check on them, make sure they're okay, get them what they need, during my breaks and stuff like that. So there's so much freedom, and it allows me to make sure that my kids are continue to be a priority versus my job being my priority. Um, let's see here, y'all. So I have a patient. I'm working on a patient who had an ER visit, so I just have to add that to their care plan. Just gonna make sure I'm trying to make sure I have the right one. But yeah. So what else can I say about being a nurse care manager? Yeah. I think that's really it, y'all. The main priority is making sure that your members are staying out of the hospital, encouraging a lot of educating around, healthier lifestyle choices. If they do go to the hospital, I do have to do like a more in-depth assessment on them and ask way more questions and way more educating. And uh, that's part of the job requirement that can be a little more stressful because it does take quite a bit of time. And at the end of the day, you still got to meet your quota for how many calls you make per day and per month. So, but honestly, I work for a really good team. Like, I love my supervisors because if I ever have issues, and I know I'm going to have some issues meeting my quota, and it's for legit reasons that I could not control, then, they are amazing and I'm really lucky. I know I'm really lucky to have supervisors that are, they make you feel like you're part of a team for real. So, I think that's it, y'all. But yeah, I love my job. If you are a nurse out there and you're considering working from home as a nurse care manager, I love it. I will say though, when I worked full time as a nurse care manager, it was way more stressful than being per diem because when as a per diem nurse care manager, I don't carry a regular caseload. So every month I have different members. As a full time care manager, I had the same members every month. Granted, sometimes you get extra ones, sometimes some members leave, but overall you have the same members every month. You're responsible for managing their needs, and that can be more stressful because the caseload for me was like sometimes close to 200, and trying to make all those calls because you still have to like touch base with every one of them every month. At least you have to attempt, right? It doesn't mean you're going to reach everyone, but you have to do the best you can to reach the majority of them at least. And that was insane. Like, yeah, I worked more hours. I worked my 40-hour weeks, but I still was like, oh my God, this is intense. You know what I mean? Like, I had to stay on top of my game for real. But as a per diem, I get new members every month. They change every month. They are not my full-blown responsibility. They're only my responsibility for that month. And even then, I'm still like, I only work one day a week, and then and sometimes 2 days a week, once a month. Because my job requires me to work 5 days out the month. It's a requirement, and I can work up to 3 days per week. So right now, obviously, as a single mom of 4 little ones, I only work my 5 days a month. So I get to be a mom first, and that's important for me, 100%. And for that reason as well, there's less pressure when you have a different caseload every month, because it's like, you just got to make sure. I go in every month and just make sure that when I make my call, I'm just making sure they're stable, they got everything they need. If they go to the ER or a hospital, then I do that full-blown assessment. But overall, you know, there's way less pressure because I'm not meant to continuously monitor them like a primary care manager would, who works a full-time job or has a full-time role in as a care manager at my job. So, definitely I highly recommend being a nurse care manager for an insurance company, because I was also a nurse care manager in a hospital, and it wasn't that bad, but having to go to the hospital, having to, make sure I'm there at a specific time, and being around all of, just, I didn't enjoy being in the hospital all day long. I just did not enjoy it. So definitely recommend it. The only thing I can say that I get concerned about is that, okay, my experience, like let's say I decide one day to leave nurse care management, and work for a hospital. I wonder, yeah, that might affect my ability to get a job if I wanted to in a hospital, if I needed to, because, I haven't had bedside nursing for a long time now, and I haven't been in a hospital for a long time. I've been working at home for an insurance company, so it's a whole different world. So that's the only thing I will say to consider. Like if you foresee yourself going back to bedside nursing, or wanting to have that option whenever possible, whenever you want it, that might be something to consider. Like, okay, it might, if somebody else goes applies for that job who has been working bedside nursing, or at least in a hospital setting, it's more likely that they're going to get that position, right? But I don't have any desire to go back to a hospital setting, period, let alone bedside nursing, y'all. If I had to, for whatever reason, of course I would. But I don't want to. This is way less stress. I'm in the comfort of my own home. I get to just do a lot of educating about positive health style habits to individuals so that they can try to be the best version of themselves. Like, and I get to be a mom first. So let me know, you guys, if you guys have any questions about this. I will be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to get back to work now, y'all, because I got some calls to make and documentation to finish. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye. Now, I don't even know how to shut this off, y'all. Hold on. Bear with me, y'all, because it's only my second live, okay? Oh, is somebody commenting here? I don't know. Yo, is it what they said? Yo. Hello. Hello, Dandy's World Clips. And you're posting potatoes. I think that's what they are. Good job. All right, I think I just gotta press the X, right? Yep. All right, bye.